Let's go!
If we could address you directly right now.
Everything comes full circle.
That's number one.
I don't tell him what questions to ask me.
There are a lot of people around town that have the same question.
Brush my teeth. I'm a good wash in the morning.
I can't confirm or deny.
You know, just keep going a little bit longer here, Mike. You keep going a little bit longer.
Casting Stars Today, broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome to Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Ari Feinstein alongside Maria Wainscott and Jacob Charnow. Guys, it's been a long time since we've sat at the table together, over a month and a half. Guys, I've missed you. Welcome back.
I know, I've missed you too. We have a lot to talk about today, but I'm excited to break it down with you guys.
Crazy that it's been a month and a half.
Yeah.
So much has happened since then.
We had March Madness going on. We had MLB opening day, NFL free agency. All of these different things have gone on, and we haven't been able to talk about it. But before we get into all that, let's keep it a little bit more local. Starting out with men's and women's lacrosse, Syracuse is facing number 5 Notre Dame tomorrow in the JMA Wireless Dome. A lot of heat coming into that matchup. Big matchup. They've won 5 in a row. What have you seen from them, Maria? Starting with you.
Oh my gosh, so much goodness from this men's lacrosse team this year. It really seems to be the year that everything's clicking for Gary Gates' squad. Of course, some tough early season losses, but they've really been able to bounce back. And now is the time to prove themselves, right? SU's going to face number 5 Notre Dame, as you mentioned, this weekend, number 1 Cornell, number 8 North Carolina, and number 12 Duke. So if any time is the time to capitalize on the mistakes that you've made in the past and really execute now, the stretch is right here. So I'm really looking forward to a winning matchup for the Orange this upcoming Saturday, and then hopefully just seeing them continue on their winning ways, because they've got to win out through this stretch in order to get a favorable seeding in that ACC tournament.
Absolutely, and those ACC matchups coming up will certainly not be easy, but first they have to get through a tough number 1 Cornell squad, another New York team that's not too far away. They've been on a roll this season, but the 2 matchups that I'm really looking forward to is Duke and North Carolina. Hey, the ACC, it's a gauntlet when it comes to lacrosse. We know this. They have so many different ranked teams. I'm a little shocked that Virginia is kind of having the year that they're having, being only 1 game above 500 so far. But those 2 games, definitely Syracuse needs to be ready, because these are the teams that they're going to have to face moving into the Memorial Day weekend tournament. Jacob, what have you seen from the men's lacrosse team so far this season?
I mean, a whole lot of resilience, if we're being honest. I mean, two little bit of a losing skid in February, Maryland and Harvard, 2 ranked teams, then 5 in a row, like you talked about. 5 really, really solid wins. I mean, the most important thing coming up is keeping that momentum going. Coach Gate keeping his players motivated heading into these games against, I mean, like you said, Duke, UNC, and then obviously the number 1 team in the country. So this is a tournament team figuring it out. I guess keep playing like a team, keep going, and stay competitive, because they can compete with all of these teams. These aren't going to be blowout games. They're going to be able to compete, just a matter of staying in them. Yeah,
and taking a look at Notre Dame, especially heading into this weekend, I took a look at their loss margins. How have they lost? What were the scores in those 2 games? Notre Dame's 2 losses on this year by 1 goal. Ohio State and Maryland, 2 also powerhouse teams that will be in the tournament as well come Memorial Day weekend. Notre Dame, plain and simple, they just know how to win. They have Chris Kavanaugh, 35 points, and offensive attackman Jake Taylor with 24 points. Syracuse defense, they're going to have their hands full.
I could not agree more. Obviously, I have a little bit of bias as a Notre Dame homer, but I think this is going to be a great matchup. I don't think it gets closer than this. 2 statistically basically exactly the same teams in Syracuse and in Notre Dame. Both have in the top 5 scoring offenses in all of college lacrosse. And Syracuse, they're just going to have their hands full, as you mentioned. Their goalkeeper is fantastic as well. So scoring in transition is going to have to be the key. I have no doubt that Joey Spallina and particularly Trey Deer and Owen Hiltz are going to go off in a game like this. Like we mentioned earlier, a lot of early season mistakes for this squad, and what I've seen really is that this team fires up when the stakes are high. Right, and Joey Spallina and Owen Hiltz just hit the 300-point mark in the last couple of games, so I'm looking to them to just keep the momentum high. Syracuse has won 5 straight games, as you mentioned, Jacob, and that ties the highest winning streak for Syracuse men's lacrosse under Gary Gates so far, so I'm looking for them to extend that winning streak against Notre Dame.
Syracuse absolutely hitting their stride at the right time. You mentioned it, you just hit on it, but I want to talk about the goaltender, Jimmy McCool. Last week he earned his second ACC Defensive Player of the Week honor, but like I mentioned before, he will have to face a high-powered Notre Dame offense. Guys like Carter Rice, Billy Dwan, and Michael Grace, they need to shut down this offense if Syracuse is going to stay locked into this game. But before we move on to women's lacrosse, one more person I want to hit on, like you mentioned, Joey Spallina. A career-high 11 points in his game against Colgate. What'd you see there?
I love Joey Spallina. I actually had a really cool honor last week to chat with him about sort of his connections on the field with some players, particularly Trey Deer, because the two of them are just one of the most incredible offensive tandems currently in men's college lacrosse. And he just told me that they really are hitting their stride at the right point in the season, and there's an incredible amount of selflessness that's being played between those two players. Particularly when I talked to Spallina about Trey Deer, he was just saying like the versatility of every guy on the team. If you need to be on the field longer, and you're currently, used to playing midi, then we'll use you at attack too, right? Like it's just a matter of trust in these players, and it just seems like when I talk to each of the teammates, they just really trust each other and have really bought into Gary Gates' vision this season. So Spallina, he's just got to continue to do what he does, and really the biggest strength that Joey Spallina has is his stamina. He starts strong at the beginning, and just when you think he's done, right, he just keeps firing away, and I love that about him, and it's really gonna have to be put on display, highlighted the most in Syracuse's game plan coming up against this really tough gauntlet of ranked opponents.
Absolutely, and one of the biggest things that you hit on is the culture that Gary Gate has built. Jacob, you're a culture guy, but I want to segue into the women's team real quick. Okay. Kayla Trainer, Olivia Adamson, Kayla Trainer's the coach. Olivia Adamson, their best player, or one of their best players, went down early on in the season, out for the year. Kayla Trainer, she had a big task at hand to not lose this locker room. Syracuse, they've had a lot of surprises this season with freshmen stepping up, with sophomores stepping up. What has Kayla Trainer's culture done for this team to keep them alive going into the tournament?
I mean, look, they're coming off a tough loss against Yale, if we're being honest. That was probably not a game that they should have lost, but as you said, I'm a culture guy, and this team, they were coming off 4 straight wins against multiple ranked opponents. Like, this is not a team I'm worried about. Coach Trainer has this figured out. She's got, as much as I hate to say, I sound like a broken record, but the culture is there. The culture is good with this team. And I do think that they will bounce back in their game against Cal tomorrow.
And Emma Ward, the senior, or grad student or senior? Grad student, my apologies. She hit the 300-point mark, cementing herself in the top 10 all-time, or top 7, actually, all-time in Syracuse women's lacrosse points. And another player, freshman, we were talking about her before the show, Caroline Trinkus, coming out of nowhere with 32 points. She's really filled in for Olivia Adamson's absence.
Yeah, I completely agree. Both of those players that you mentioned, those are the key to success for women's lacrosse here at Syracuse. I love Emma Ward. I mean, she's just a fantastic leader for this program. And as you mentioned, hitting that 300-point mark in their game against UVA this past weekend was just like such an incredible feat. And I remember I had the honor of sideline reporting that game and talking to Emma afterwards. I was kind of expecting some emotions from her, right? Like, what does this milestone mean to you? And she's like, it means a lot. It's just the product of a lot of hard work, right? She was expecting this, but also it's not about her. She really quickly deflected back to the strength of the team, the hard work of the team, the toughness, the resilience of this squad. And I love that. That just speaks so much about the culture that Kayla Trainer has instilled in this squad. And I think the leadership also sets the tone for so many of the other young members of the team, like Caroline Trinkus, to feel comfortable being able to step up in an offensive scoring position when you have someone like Emma Ward who's going to be behind the crease, ready to help out the freshmen, the younger talent wanting to score, just, popping it over the net and just giving the opportunities to the freshmen to score on a big stage. So those two players, Caroline Trinkus and Emma Ward, are the key to success for Syracuse women's lacrosse.
I think it speaks to both programs that both teams have, between Joey Spallina and Emma Ward, and then Coach Gate and Coach Trainer, they just have a real leadership structure and that's the reason why last year incoming to this year, both the men's and women's team lost quite a few players, whether it was to injury or graduation or whatever it was, and the fact that they still have players buying in to everything that these coaches are saying shows a lot about, the culture that is going on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Syracuse lacrosse programs.
Literally could not agree more. And, we keep talking about this culture and people really buying into the culture who are members of the team. I just have to say, it matters when your coach cares more about the outcome that happens on a given midweek game or a Saturday or a Sunday, right? Coach Gary Gate, we know, has Gate lacrosse. He's invested his life into the lifestyle that is lacrosse. Same thing with head coach Kayla Trainer. She was on the Torton Award watch list her entire time playing at Syracuse. She's played on the, U.S. women's national team. She's coaching the senior squad, the under-18 senior squad for women's national lacrosse. It's her life too, and I think that she's just such a role model for so many of these women's lacrosse players, and I think the same can be said about Gary Gate.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is that they both played for this program. They both care about Syracuse. They both want to see this program succeed because it means so much to them personally. And I think that that's something that you can't hire. You can't. You have to grow it from the bottom up. And then that's exactly what they've done.
Well, the men's and women's team will both have their tournaments in late May, Memorial Day weekend. But there's another tournament going on, March Madness, which we'll talk about right after the break.
Cool beans. Ooh, had a little voice crack there, guys.
Did you guys hear the thing go off or no?
No, I did not.
Okay, because I was like, do I go?
I know. No, you're good. We were like, well.
I was just like, all right, I'll just roll with it.
No worries.
Awesome.
Good stuff, guys.
Jacob, I'll get you more involved here.
I mean,
felt bad.
You could keep me out of that one. That is okay. I don't need to talk about lacrosse. I got other stuff.
All good.
You guys know significantly more than me when it comes to lacrosse.
So funny.
What I do know, though, is that Red Sox game is about to start.
Yes, it is.
Jacob's riding the Jaron Duran and Kyle Tucker home runs.
Had to throw it.
Dad, if I win that, that's an extra $1,000 in my pocket. Huh? I'll pay for dinner. I'll pay for everyone's dinner tonight. So we need Kerry Carpenter to hit a home run, which he did. Then we need Jaron Duran and Kyle Tucker. Jaron Duran. He's the leadoff hitter.
Kevin Durant's brother?
No.
That would be awesome.
Spelled differently.
That was good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good opening block.
It was fun.
I want to see the lines for these Final Four games.
Yeah. Who's favored?
Florida's favored over Auburn. They're minus 150.
Yeah, I think.
And Duke is minus 255. That is unreal.
Duke is minus, oh my gosh.
255.
Against Houston?
Yeah. And they're going to cover. Duke is so good, man.
They're so good.
Uh-oh. The Red Sox game's delayed. So we might have to wait on that one.
Ooh. Should we throw the Nerfy also on it?
Ooh. What? Yeah, dinner's delayed. Should we start betting on college props? I have so many profit boosts.
All good.
The problem is I get like soccer boosts and I don't know soccer and I'm just like throwing money away.
Yeah.
I'm just tossing money on whoever. Who's playing today? I got a soccer boost. Bayern Munich, they're playing. I know them. Dortmund. Oh, Dortmund at plus money. Well, every bet is plus money.
Okay, guys, wait, hold on. I have a picture of the seeds that were in 2008. It's Kansas, Memphis, UNC, UCLA.
The Tigers. That's
and then,
my team.
Obviously this year. So, since 1985, since the tournament.
Who was on that 2008 UCLA team?
So I'll blow this up big when we're going.
Yeah, I knew Russell Westbrook was there.
Yep.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
I'm sorry. What?
You're good.
I wasn't paying attention.
No, you're fine. I just had a picture of the number one seeds that made the tournament in 2008 versus the number one seeds that were in it this year.
Yo, you know who's on the 2008 UCLA basketball team? Luke Mbah a Moute. That guy's a dog, man. Kevin Love was on that team.
Wow.
Will it play this time around, or should I just go at 250?
I think we give it the benefit of the doubt.
Okay,
and
if
then
not,
we see.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll just keep going. We'll keep rolling in.
We'll keep it going.
What other teams was it? It was.
Oh, sorry.
It was Memphis.
Awesome.
Memphis, UNC,
Who was on this
UCLA,
Memphis team?
Kansas, and they were all 1 seeds. So
Who was on this
I don't
Memphis
know.
team that really took them that far?
you never know, man.
Derrick Rose was on
Oh
that
yeah,
team.
that would
Okay, that'll do it.
That'll do it.
Yeah,
That'll
yes,
do it.
yes. And then Chandler Parsons was on Florida.
That's fun. Sorry, guys. Cool beans.
So at 40.
Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Ari Feinstein alongside Maria Wainscott and Jacob Charnow. We talked about men's and women's lacrosse. Let's move it into college hoops. The Final Four beginning tomorrow night at 6:45. First matchup is Duke versus Houston. Guys, what do we like from that matchup? Starting with you, Maria.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to like about this matchup, Duke versus Houston. Let's talk about when they met originally, or when they had other games earlier this season that really dove into that record of, just so many winning records this season. So when Duke and Houston meet on Saturday, it'll be two teams with a combined record of 60-2 since December 1st. 60-2. So it's just so impressive. I mean, that stat it just leaves me speechless. Honestly, I think it's unbelievable too that both of those teams weren't awarded the overall number 1 seed, right? Auburn got that. And still, they had a really tough loss this season to Florida. They lost by 9 points on their home court. So I think that there's a lot of animosity, a lot of people playing with chips on their shoulder, especially in this Duke Houston squad. I think there's a lot to love about it, and I think that this is going to be truly, if you love March Madness basketball and just love elite games, this is going to be one of them that's, you're going to need your popcorn out tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the line for this game, it's incredibly, it is, Duke is minus 255 in this game, and it's March Madness. That really doesn't mean anything, but it shows the dominance that Duke has had throughout the tournament, and the dominance they've shown throughout the season. The most interesting stat is Duke ranked 9th in points per game offensively throughout the season, and Houston had the best defense in the country the entire season. So, is it going to come down to Cooper Flagg? Probably not, because Cooper Flagg is going to perform no matter what. It comes down to the other 4 guys on the court for Duke, and if they can just keep putting up points like they have been, they're going to win this game pretty easily. Not that Houston has necessarily struggled in their games that they've played. I think besides Duke, they're probably the only number 1 team that really had no trouble getting to the Final Four. Mm-hmm. But I like Duke big in this game, I think.
One of the biggest questions that I think Duke has answered in this tournament specifically is how all the doubters were saying that Duke's playing in a weak ACC conference. We don't know how they're going to stack up against these big teams, right?
They certainly played in a weak conference, but they were also
they had
way better than
Fans had doubts because they're obviously going to be playing in a lot more competitive games against these SEC schools. I mean, we saw it over half the conference in the SEC made the tournament, so them seeing the SEC and all these different other conferences, it rose a new challenge for this Duke squad. They're not facing off, I hate to say it, but a 500 team in Syracuse. They're not facing off against Stanford. They're not facing off against, Clemson got bounced, but they're not facing off against Clemson. Mm-hmm. These teams, they're legit, and Duke has certainly rang the bell this tournament, proving all those doubters wrong, saying we're dominant. And it just stinks that we're stuck in the ACC to not be able to prove it to you guys. Right. But moving on from Duke, I want to move into this Florida versus Auburn game. Maria, you hit on this earlier, that Florida and Auburn, they have some history this past season with Florida taking down Auburn in their home court. Mm-hmm. What are your biggest keys to that game?
I think the biggest key for the Gators is to isolate Janai Broome, right? I think so many Auburn fans are going to say if the Gators beat the Tigers, that Auburn wasn't firing at full functionality, right? Janai Broome went out in their last game with a serious right wrist injury. It looked quite bad. The reporters came back and said he was in the x-ray room, just getting, also MRIs, getting scans read, and it just, it was not good. It looked really, really bad for Auburn, but knowing Johni Broome and the grit that he plays with, he was not going to let his team potentially lose that game and a trip to the Final Four. So he came back out and sealed the deal against Michigan State. So the key is isolating a player like that who plays not just with technical excellence, right? He's also playing with grit. That's a dangerous player. And I don't care if you're Florida, who is also a technically excellent team all around. A player like that changes momentum. And in March, everything is momentum. So my biggest key to the game is just isolating Johni Broome. He'll be able to shoot with one hand. I have actually zero doubt that he will be able to do that. So he's still a total force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, look, you want to talk about March. I think one of the most important things in March is the point guard. And you want to talk about a point guard, Walter Clayton, man. That guy does not miss shots. He doesn't miss shots. I also have Florida winning my bracket, so I'm a little bit biased. But Auburn has been, incredibly dominant. Florida has struggled a little bit in their last couple games, especially their last one. I think they went down 10 points at one point.
Yeah.
That could hurt them if they start off slow, because Auburn's not a team that's going to give that lead back up.
Right.
So Florida, I think the key to them, start off high. That first half is going to be the most. Florida's been great in the second half. That first half is going to be make or break for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
So this is the only second time in NCAA history where all four number one seeds are in the Final Four. So now, with this stat, I think back to NIL and what that's doing for the sport of college basketball as a whole. Do you think NIL is maybe ruining college hoops because there might be less Cinderella stories? Or is all four number one seeds just super rare in general, and that might be more of like this year's Cinderella type of thing?
I don't want to be too pessimistic, right? It's just 1 year. Do I think NIL has had a major influence on all number one seeds making it for the first time since 2008? Absolutely, right? Ari, you and I talked before the show just about Duke's prowess, their endowment, and their ability to recruit, right? They got Kaman Malawach from South Sudan, right? They saw him play in the Olympics, and I'm sure John Shire was like, yeah, let's go get him. Let's go get that 18-year-old who's, 7'2"? Yeah, so, their ability to scout definitely puts them ahead. And just like so many of these number one seeds that made it this season, I think their ability to scout puts them ahead. Do I think it's all due to NIL? Not particularly, but I do think if you look at the trends, right, it's all about the money. It's the schools with the money that are able to scout these unbelievable, unstoppable Avengers Assemble sort of squads.
Yes, of course. I think that NIL does play a big part of it. I also think that with the one seeds, it's more of a result of weak teams in the 2 and 3 seeds throughout the rest, specifically this year in the tournament. A lot of those 2 seeds were incredibly flawed throughout the year. I think all of them but Tennessee, I think we were going into the tournament saying they have no chance of winning it. Between St. John's, Michigan State had their struggles. Alabama had their struggles throughout. And then the 3 seeds speak for themselves. Kentucky, Iowa State, Wisconsin. These are just not teams that had any chance of getting there. I do think that NIL played a little bit of it, but I think an overall weaker tournament this year is a big reason for the result that we have right now.
Totally. There's just a bigger gap between the 1 and the 2 and the 3.
Right. When we watched, what was it? It was Tennessee and Houston.
Yeah.
That skill gap that did not feel like a 1 seed versus a 2 seed.
Right.
That felt like a 1 seed against an 8 seed.
Completely agree.
That's just how it was, and that's how it was for honestly most of the sections in this tournament. Yeah.
Agreed.
So moving from the Final Four, I want to talk a little bit about Syracuse basketball. Specifically, we found out the news yesterday that Carmelo Anthony has been elected to the 2025 National Basketball Association Hall of Fame. It's awesome to hear that he's been elected as 3 students who go to Syracuse University, but also students also heard the news that he will also be our commencement speaker at 2025 graduate. Maybe not you, Jacob, but for Maria and I, we will definitely be enjoying Melo's speech in the JMA Wireless Dome. I'm really looking forward to that.
So excited.
And then with his presence there, it only builds into the energy of next year with Kai and Anthony Anthony and his squad coming to SU Hoops. So before we head to break, what's your boldest prediction heading into Syracuse College Hoops next year?
Oh, God. You should have given me a heads up that we were doing this.
Man.
Let me just say, I am so thrilled that Donnie Freeman decided to stay. I think the combination of Donnie Freeman and Kyan Anthony is going to be the most electric offensive scoring duo in the ACC. I think that'll be my hottest take. Might I also give a quick shout out to JJ Starling for sticking it out here at Syracuse. That was a big surprise to me, but I'm absolutely thrilled that he will be staying with the Orange.
Yeah, I'm still thinking here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry, I threw you a little curveball there.
I know. We've been getting so many transfers, right? I mean, let's talk about that.
Where is he from? Oregon State?
Yeah.
Oregon State.
That's big.
That's big. I think with the amount of question marks that after this season with Coach Autry and the transfers and all of that, like you said, the guys that are staying here, great to see Donnie Freeman, JJ Starling. And then the guys coming in, you saw the... even though it wasn't necessarily like a night and day difference, you saw like what a guy like Eddie Lampkin transferring in here can do for this team. And I think that the more that we allow Coach Autry to kind of build his own culture off, instead of, the way a lot of fans see it riding on Coach Boeheim's coattails, allow Coach Autry to start building his own culture, make this his team, get those guys in here, and really give him a chance to do something. I mean, there's been a lot of criticism from, not just from me on this show, but from Syracuse fans all over. I'm excited to see what he does. This is a make or break year. It's tournament or bust next year for Coach Autry. So I'm excited to see that kind of home run swing he's going to take during the offseason.
So despite Syracuse having a tough season this past year, they have some bright spots heading into next season. I'm looking forward to it. I know you guys are looking forward to it. We'll be right back after the break.
Good set.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle.
Sorry, we're like right on the money.
Yeah, I kind of threw that.
No,
I saw that we were winding down in our Final Four, so I was like, let's make this a little bit more local again.
All right, so we're coming. What are we? The next segment's going to be
draft predictions.
Are we doing draft or
what else?
Or are you going to push my buttons a little bit here?
Ooh, I don't know. Do you want your buttons to be pushed?
You want to talk baseball?
Now?
Do whatever you want.
We could do.
You want to do baseball now and NFL last, or NFL now? And
we should do NFL now.
Okay.
And then I like ending.
We'll end
on
with baseball.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We could end the show with you being frustrated.
Love it.
All right, let's check to see if Kyle Tucker. Thank you.
I know. I agree.
Sharon Duran is at bat right now.
He is?
Yo, I got the game up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
He's up right now. Come on, guys. Come on, Sharon. Yo, I'm pulling up MLB TV. We're watching during the break.
This is make or break right here. If he goes yard, oh my god.
If he hits one out.
Lead off bomb. Get it going. I love the matchup. All right, ball one. I'm following on my phone. So.
You guys are so funny.
Oh, no, I'm behind. All right, I'll follow one here. I'll follow one FanDuel.
I didn't hear
We just kind of tune out. We're also very loud in our own ears, so sometimes that's like all I can hear.
Wait, so we're doing football?
Football.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, now I can start using my prowess. I can start using my knowledge here.
You're good.
Duran's just so due.
He's so due.
He's so due. Dad, sometimes you don't have to look up statistics. It's just more of a matter of players are due. Like 15 times. Something like that. What time are we back?
30.
30. Oh, he got a hit. Darn it.
Dang.
Oh, it was always bases.
Oh, it was. What were we thinking, dude? We should have bet that.
Always bases.
What were we thinking, dude?
When does
Kyle Tucker? Kyle Tucker's about to be up also.
Bang. We're so back.
Oh, wait. Yeah, he's batting second. It's the bottom of the first right now.
Ian Happ's leading off.
Yeah.
That guy, I can't believe that guy is still like relevant. That guy's been in the league for so.
Ian Happ.
Sorry.
All good.
Ian Happ, man. He's 30. He's also hitting 184 this year so far in 5 games.
I love how we just complained about Jaron Duran getting a base hit. Ooh, Ian Happ on base. Time for Kyle Tucker to make go yard.
He's doing it.
I mean, it's the home opener, right? He has to.
Oh my God, he has to. He has to.
Like, I'm taking all these things
Seiya
into
Suzuki
account.
hit 2 yesterday. Today's Kyle Tucker's day.
First pitch, nuke. I mean, who's this Vasquez guy? I mean, true, but it's his first time in front of the Chicago fans, so I think he'll make some magic.
Wasn't this guy Randy Vasquez on the Yankees? Yeah, he was on the Yankees. I have no idea. I remember the name. Did he get dealt? Randy Vasquez. Did he get traded? Was he part of that? Yeah, he was in the Soto deal. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Wait, when are we back? Oh, are we back right now? Okay.
Sounded like me, didn't it?
Yeah, I actually thought it was you for a second.
Sometimes I'm like
1-1 count on K Tucker.
2-1. 2-1.
1 count. How are you ahead of me? What are you watching on?
I'm on the score. It's always so
that's
quick.
ahead of FanDuel?
It's way quicker.
How is that ahead of FanDuel, man?
So quick. All right, I'm going to turn this off because I'm going to be like distracted.
I know. Off.
Ooh.
I might. We'll see.
ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Ari Feinstein alongside Maria Wainscott and Jacob Charnow. This hour of Newhouse Afternoon is powered by Drivers Village Cicero. Go to dvoffers.com for more info. Guys, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's been a while since we've been on the desk here. So a lot has happened in the sports world, specifically the NFL free agency happened, the combine happened, and now in a couple of weeks, the NFL draft will be happening. But a lot of quarterback holes were filled this offseason. The Giants went out and got Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. The Jets went out and got Justin Fields. The Steelers, it looks like they're going to land Aaron Rodgers, but obviously he's going to drag that on for probably another month and a half, or if not, another 3 months just for the attention. The Raiders getting Geno Smith and the Seahawks getting Sam Darnold. So a lot of jumble within the league. So that kind of makes our draft, it could fall out of a bunch of different ways. Jacob, I'm going to start with you. The top four could really be anyone at this point. What do you think?
I like Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is the consensus overall number one pick at this point. I think after that is where it gets a little flimsy because now all of a sudden the Browns probably not going to take Shedeur Sanders is what it's looking like. Probably Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter for the Browns. Giants now, Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, whatever they're doing over there in East Rutherford. I mean, I don't know what's going on the other side. I mean, my Jets could never. But no, they probably won't take Shedeur Sanders either. And after that, it gets really dicey for Shedeur because you look at the top 10. I'm going to read. I mean, Patriots don't need a quarterback. Jaguars aren't taking a quarterback. Raiders probably aren't going to take him. Jets are not going to take him. The Panthers probably not. The Saints are the next team up at 10 that need a quarterback. And from what I'm hearing, like they're probably going to take Jack Start. So I don't know. Like for Shedeur, it gets like. If he's not going in the top 3, he might fall out of the top 15.
Is it possible that he falls out of the first round completely? Do you think other teams have different quarterbacks like McCord, Dart, like you mentioned, ahead of Shedeur?
Yes, and I think that now those kinds of teams that were doing most of their research on guys like Dart and McCord are now starting to see that Shedeur's falling. He might not make it, so I think they're starting to do their own research there. Now all of a sudden, Shedeur might be an option for a team like the Bucs at 19. Like that's a sneaky landing spot for Shedeur. Like in Tampa, I kind of like that culture for him.
Yeah. Big culture guy. Always going back to the culture.
But yeah, and then there's just so much talent in the top half of this draft outside of the quarterback room, outside of the quarterback board, Abdul Carter, Tet McMillan, like all over the place. There's just so much talent that I think Shedeur might be the one that's left out.
I think before we move on from talking about the quarterback room, I need to back up Shedeur Sanders a little bit. I'd love to talk a little bit about the stereotype that often fits the most controversial quarterback, draftee every single year. So let's look at this format, but last season. Last draft class, we had Caleb Williams. And I think a lot of journalists painted him as a controversial figure because of, the fingernails and, some of the social media posts and some of his traditions on game day, the way he would warm up. I mean, he was just sort of painted as this spectacle before he was treated as the weapon that he was. Now, obviously, right, he won the Heisman. We know he's good. But I think that when it came draft time, so many of these more traditional GMs and coaches were looking at him as a bit distracting, a bit immature, and I see a lot of those same conversations circulating around Shedeur Sanders. Now, maybe there's more of a case to be made against Shedeur Sanders, right? I mean, we've seen this constantly. We've seen,
that's the part I like. That's actually the part I like.
The APs, all of those things. We've seen all of that, but I think Shedeur really has to kind of put some of that behavior aside. It's not necessarily like a personal issue, but I think that so many journalists have painted him as a problematic quarterback candidate. But I think we need to look at the film. Okay, when you look at Shedeur Sanders, he really made the offense cook. Okay, if you look at the offensive weapons that he had, other than Travis Hunter, maybe you have LeJontay Webster, and that's about it. He made that offense cook. And there are so many times, including that overtime win against Baylor, where he slung a Hail Mary down the field and they won with a walk-off touchdown. And I'm not just, pinpointing one isolated event. Shedeur Sanders is a mobile quarterback. He is defying the odds of what people are saying about him. He's really actually that good.
Shedeur, if you look at it, he really didn't use his legs unless he needed to.
Right.
In college. And that was because he was getting, smoked behind that offensive line.
Yeah.
Like, he was getting lit up. And I think also with the thing with Shedeur and you mentioned Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was a much more highly regarded prospect than Shedeur is. I mean, Caleb Williams, a lot of people called him the best quarterback to come out of college since Andrew Luck. And as a prospect, that might be true. But I think with Shedeur, the thing is, his last name is Sanders. His dad is Coach Prime. His dad played baseball. He played in the MLB and NFL at the same time in the same day. So that's just kind of the cloth from which he's cut, and I don't think it's a knock on him at all. I think that while GMs the traditional GM might be a little bit shaky about, their quarterback, who is their leader, being more concerned with media than football, I don't think that Shedeur's outside of football antics should affect his draft stock at all. I think that in the right spot, if Shedeur can separate himself from Colorado and his dad, then I think that he has a chance in the right place to be a really solid NFL quarterback. I don't think he's the best quarterback in this draft. I don't even know if I'd put him in the top 3, but I think that in terms of development, he's definitely one of the higher ceiling guys in this draft.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen all over social media, he feels pretty confident that the New York Giants are going to select him. I don't know if you've seen all those videos circulating.
Those cleats
during his bowl game.
That was the only thing that he has done that I was like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
So I love the confidence in himself. It's great to have confidence when you're playing, but obviously confidence could also make you seem cocky. So obviously he doesn't want to leave that impression on other teams. Obviously he wants to win, and he wants to be the person to change the New York Giants franchise, or at least that's what it seems like, which is great as a fan, that you want somebody to come to your team after being so bad for so long. So seeing that is definitely interesting. But I do want to segue from the quarterback conversation to the defensive end conversation, especially in Abdul Carter. There's also been a lot of things on social media where Abdul Carter has shown his love for the Philadelphia Eagles, going to Penn State, being from Philly. So is a team taking a risk by taking Abdul Carter, potentially knowing that he may leave in free agency to go to his hometown favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles?
No, I mean, you got him for 4 years. You got him locked up. If I was going to the NFL draft, I'd also want to play for the Eagles. It's not
they just won Super Bowl.
They just won Super Bowl. They're the best team in the league.
Fair enough.
I would want that too. I don't think that would be an issue. I think the bigger issue is if the Browns just paid Myles Garrett all that money and then also take Abdul Carter when they have glaring issues everywhere else on their roster. Like the one place they didn't have to worry about was edge rusher if they got Myles Garrett back. And I mean
that would be a lethal duo.
So now
that would be a lethal duo.
But now in that case, does it open up the door for the Browns to take Travis Hunter and pair him with a guy like Denzel Ward, who still very, very talented, still a very, very good player.
Absolutely.
And Travis Hunter's not going to play both sides of the ball in the NFL, right? I think that's been pretty established through the pre-draft process and what teams are looking for. But if you're the Browns, this is an interesting hypothetical. If you're the Browns and you take Travis Hunter, are you playing him on defense and you're going to create that lockdown, or are you going to take – because I think Travis Hunter is a better corner than he is wide receiver. And
Really?
It's harder to find a lockdown cornerback one in the NFL than it is to find like – probably at best a wide receiver too.
I completely understand that and respect it, but I think Travis Hunter's ball skills rival pretty much anyone else in this draft class.
I mean,
and the Browns need
the Browns need the receiver is the thing. That's the problem. Is that do you take a little bit less of you lower his ceiling maybe a little bit, but it fills a need for your team immediately with Travis Hunter, or do you do what it would do the same thing as drafting Abdul Carter, which is, going, improving a part of your defense that doesn't need improving, right? Like, I don't know where the Browns ranked in terms of passing yards given up last year, but I can't imagine it was outside of the top 10. It usually isn't. But I like Travis Hunter in the slot a little. I could get him moving.
I think we get behind that.
We can get some Travis Hunter packages.
It's definitely interesting when it comes to Travis Hunter and the Browns because, like you mentioned, they do need his help at wide receiver. I mean, I'm just looking at their wide receiver room. They have Jerry Jeudy, who did have some great games for the Browns last season.
Jerry Jeudy will never. I'm a big fan of Jerry Jeudy. I was very high on him coming out of college. This guy is not going to be a wide receiver one in the NFL.
Yeah, sorry, bud.
And like, honestly, if I'm the Browns, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at a team like the Panthers. I'm looking at a team like the Saints that could trade up to get a guy like Abdul Carter. And the Browns can trade back, recoup some draft picks, sit back at like pick 9 or 10, somewhere between 9 and 12, and just take a guy like Jahad Campbell if you want defense. Like, he's gross. Take a guy like Will Johnson, who you can trade back for. And like, I just don't. You can even maybe get McMillan if you don't trade back far enough. Like, I don't think taking Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter at 2 does anything for the Browns that makes them more ready to win next year than they already are.
Well, the draft is in only 3 weeks away. When we return from the break, we'll tell you our favorite things that we saw this past week. We'll be right back. One more segment.
Hey. Yeah, Abdul Carter, man, is like he's a
so
scary
good.
guy.
He's just so good.
He's like scary good.
The problem is like you get guys like Abdul Carter, and then you also have like Mason Graham, who would probably help the Browns immediately more than Abdul Carter would, because you need that interior pressure too.
Right.
And like, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, he was scary. You guys remember when I went to the Orange Bowl in Miami?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember when Abdul Carter, he was 2 weeks out from shoulder surgery, and I watched him just absolutely obliterate Riley Leonard, just obliterate that kid. Like, oh my gosh, I would have been so scared with Abdul Carter just flying at me. He had this like Batman mouth guard in, and he had like he had his like eye black, and he had like words on his cheeks like about like Dark Knight, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
I just think the trade down value is so much higher than the trade up value in this year's draft.
Definitely.
Like, you can get probably the same level of talent after pick like 10 as you can between pick like 21 and 25. Like, those guys are going based off need, not based off talent.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it'll be a great draft. I'm really looking forward to it.
This guy Mike Green, I love Mike Green from Marshall, the Thundering Herd.
I love Marshall. I have a love-hate relationship with Marshall. I worked with that team way back when Notre Dame played Marshall in the home opener for Notre Dame. Got to interview some players and work with Coach Charles. What's his last name? Huff.
No,
this is so embarrassing.
Sure.
Hold on.
I don't know though. Marshall. I'm not very.
Marshall.
You know who's probably going to fall out? Jack Sawyer, probably going to fall in the first round.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's a beast though.
He's good. He's obviously very
awesome.
good.
Like,
I'd like the Giants to pick him up.
Restrepo also gonna.
Charles
fall.
Huff, yes, Huff.
He had a rough.
He did have a
pro day.
Yeah. He's gonna fall.
I mean, it was just what his 40 time.
I've heard Luther Burden has also had some tough interviews.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Chris Paul Jr., my guy.
I mean, these guys are they're all
Rebels.
going to get drafted
The
at
Rebels.
some point.
Trey
Yeah.
Harris, go Rebels.
What's I gonna say? Yeah, so Marshall. I'm pro Marshall after working with that team, but I don't know if you remember when Marcus Freeman, it was his first home game at Notre Dame. Marshall upsets Notre Dame at home.
Really? I just remember the
Killer.
RIT game, or what was it?
NIT?
NIT game.
I'm
Northern
almost,
Illinois, or not NIT, Northern Illinois, NIU, NIT.
I'm almost
NIT.
like 100% confident that Kyle McCord's going to be the fourth quarterback off the board.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean, who? Okay.
Outside, I think.
Who else? So,
it
like-
would be Milroe, Will Howard, Riley Leonard, which I mean he's
Leonard?
probably
I'm
going to
sorry.
get undrafted.
I don't think
he'll get
Leonard's gonna
drafted at all.
No.
But like I'm just thinking of quarterbacks that are in it. I'm
No.
also
Yeah.
going through John Gruden
Quinn
releasing
Ewers.
his QB camp.
Yes.
Quinn Ewers is in the draft.
Ewers, right? I mean,
Who
his
else?
fall off is
Crazy.
unreal.
He was supposed to be like a top 10 pick.
It was supposed to be him, Shadur, and Cam Ward. That was
Yeah.
supposed to be like the big three.
Yep.
And now Kyle McCord's in there.
Yeah.
I know.
Like Kyle McCord,
He's great.
Like
Is
my,
Will Howard
my,
gonna
my
get
hot
drafted?
take, he'll get drafted somewhere. But like my hot take is that depending on how the top 10 goes, like Kyle McCord could very well be an end of first round pick. Like he
Yeah.
could be that
He could.
surprise.
He's so awesome.
It's like how Michael
He's
Penix
great.
went number 8.
Like that
Oh,
kid
yeah,
has
yeah.
that kid has a head on his shoulders. Like he
He's a
understands
beast.
the
Major
game.
football
He's got an
IQ.
arm.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
And people are gonna get much higher on him after he's on Gruden, after he's on QB camp with Gruden.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be. I'm so excited for that. Got me
Yeah.
feeling nicey.
Do you have the thing? Your best thing you saw this week?
Just that the NFL.
Wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Whoa.
Don't tell me.
Oh,
I just
need
want to know.
to-
I just want to know
I
if you
need to
have
find
it.
I think I got it.
I
Yeah.
need to find something. Okay.
Nothing crazy,
All right.
but
All right. I got mine. I got mine.
I won't give it away. La la la. Sorry, guys.
Yo, the Red
Did you
Sox
guys-
are up 5-0.
I know.
Did you guys hear all that like sound in our ears? I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
No, I heard it. I heard
like,
it.
oh,
Like
no,
the
keep
door
going,
slamming.
keep going.
I don't think they could hear. I think that was probably at.
Yeah, it was at the studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are these teams scoring?
No, it's home runs. Story and Wilyer Abreu.
Here we
Of course, not Jaron Duran. We got plenty of time.
Wilmer Abreu.
Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. Ari Feinstein alongside Maria Wayne Scott and Jacob Charnow. We're going to end things off here by doing one of our favorite segments, talking about one of the best things that we saw this week. Well, I'll jump right into mine. First off, I love seeing Juan Soto's first home run in the orange and blue. I know Jacob's a Yankee fan, so I bet seeing that made him feel awesome. But I do want to talk about one thing that, other than the Juan Soto's home run, which was obviously fantastic, I want to talk about the little debate that's going on between the Yankees and these potentially are these illegal torpedo bats?
So let me get to
Hold
my
on.
best thing I've seen this week. The best thing I've seen this week is the Yankees' new torpedo bats, hitting 22 home runs to start the season, putting up all the runs. Like, I mean, Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, all of a sudden
Him
and Jazz
best
Chisholm
player
are
in the NFL, best player in the MLB, and I mean he is like,
hitting home runs.
Ben Rice,
Jazz
Uncle
Chisholm hitting
Ben.
home runs.
How about Uncle Ben? I mean, Jason Dominguez. Like this team, man. Like, I'll give credit to Cashman because I mean. Was not nice to him during the offseason because I did not like the moves that were made. I think that replacing Juan Soto with Paul Goldschmidt is
and
like
Cody Bellinger.
I mean, it's like replacing your morning coffee with actual sewage, but it's fine. It's okay. Like Paul Goldschmidt's hitting 250 so far. Like he's doing really well. I'm a big Paul Goldschmidt guy, but I mean, how about the New York Yankees? This hot start to the season. Aaron Judge hitting his 500th home run of his career last night. I mean, props to him. Props to him. We're going back to the series.
I don't know. This going back to this torpedo bat thing. It's kind of crazy. Next thing you know, Jazz Chisholm is one of the leaders in home runs this season. Anthony Volpe already has 4 this year. I mean, Are we sure that? I mean, last year these guys they weren't doing this. So are we sure it's these new bats? That's
I mean, listen, the Yankees aren't the only team that can use them.
That's fair.
They can. Other teams can get active here. It's just the Yankees decided like, hey, let's just hire some MIT engineer, and he's just gonna move the barrel down like 3 inches, and all of a sudden Anthony Volpe is the best shortstop in the MLB. Like I really don't understand it. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how it really worked, but I think the only player not using the torpedo bat is Judge, and he's still disgusting.
He doesn't need it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was working before without it. So
okay, so let me raise this question for you: why should MLB players be rewarded if they can't barrel up the baseball the right way?
They should just move the barrel down. What about all the other players in the MLB?
Fair. I think I just like poking fun at you.
No,
because
that's
you're
fair.
a Yankee fan.
That's fair. I mean,
Hey,
I knew coming into this I was going to hear about the torpedo bats at some point. I've been hearing about them all week.
Hey, but that Juan Soto home run, just glorious. Can't wait to watch that for the next 15 years.
Yo, JC Escara, how about first career double yesterday? Congratulations to him. Let's go. That guy played. I saw him play. I was at Yankee spring training down at Steinbrenner
Nice.
over spring break. Me and Tim Hill got real close. He still nails. Luke Weaver still nails. He's that guy.
So let's give ourselves a little bit of a breather here. Maria, what was the best thing you saw this week?
Best thing I saw this week goes back to my favorite league taking over Christmas, my favorite holiday. Officially, the NFL is taking over Christmas, and they're taking it from the NBA. So changing things up a little bit from this past Christmas where the NFL took over Christmas with a doubleheader, now the NFL is monopolizing all of Christmas Day, which I'm sure my mom's going to be thrilled about, with a triple header. So it's going to be a fantastic day. Obviously, the games have not yet been released, but Game 1 will be on Netflix, Game 2 will be on Netflix, and Game 3 will be on Amazon. Last year's viewership, both
services.
games, both games averaged over 24 million views, which just was a huge gap between the most watched, games, obviously, that I mentioned, and then the most watched NBA games that have happened historically on Christmas. So I'm thrilled. I love football. Normally, football on holidays I typically associate with Thanksgiving, so I'm just getting really excited for a Christmas Day football marathon.
So do you think that, which do you think will become more popular as the years go down? Do you think it'll always be the NFL on Thanksgiving just because of the history behind it? Or do you think it could be NFL Christmas because they'll have different teams playing every year? What do you think?
I'm sick and tired of watching the Cowboys. I'm sick and tired of it. I don't care about.
I mean, at least the Lions are more fun now.
Thanksgiving football is just like
elite,
kind of built different, and
I agree.
Like football has become a part of Thanksgiving. I don't think it'll ever become a part of Christmas culture like that.
That's fair.
So I mean, yeah, I'm excited though.
I don't know. I also think
I love football.
Circling back to our favorite topic, talking about culture around the holidays, I did love the fact that because this was mapped onto the format of a streaming service, there was so much time built in for like pregame shows, halftime shows, studio shows of all sorts within the broadcast, and I saw so many cool like fan interaction stuff. I'm a big Steelers fan, so seeing that Steelers fan interaction stuff, all the things that I love about Pittsburgh being put on full display on Christmas Day, it was cool. If you're not in that city on that day, you still feel like you have a connection there to those games that are being played on the holidays. So I completely agree with Jacob. Football and Thanksgiving, they literally cannot be separated, but with Christmas it is fun to like bring those traditions, new traditions in through TV on Christmas.
You know what I love? I love how the NBA, I don't know if they do it anymore, but those uniforms that they had on Christmas, those were iconic.
Those were so cool.
What if, hopefully, maybe we'll start to see the NFL? What if they had some like holiday
That would be cool.
colored uniforms?
You know what we could talk about? I mean, how irrelevant the NBA is now. Unfortunately,
totally
I mean, Christmas was their thing for the longest time.
Yeah.
And now it is
just got
no longer
stripped.
their thing because football reigns supreme in America.
Yeah,
And that's how it
pretty
goes.
much.
And now it's going to start, now that football is becoming more international, like the NBA is cooked, man.
Yeah.
It's over for them. It's also partially their fault that their product has become controversially unwatchable.
Yeah.
It's college basketball just is so much better than the NBA.
Yeah, it's more competitive. It's
is
more
that a hot take anymore? I don't
No,
even.
I don't even. I think
think
it's a cold
so.
take.
I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think I'd rather. I think I would put the NBA playoffs last in my playoff rankings of
I agree.
best ones. I mean, March Madness has to be one.
I know.
It's
Now I'm
March
slotting
Madness
in the Four
or
Nations ahead of the NBA playoffs too.
Like the NFL
Four
playoffs,
Nations.
like
Yeah.
college. I mean, March Madness. The NHL playoffs are electric.
Yeah, right?
I mean, MLB playoffs. Pretty much the World Cup is awesome. Everything but basketball. Everything but the NBA is cool.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But we are heading into playoff season in the upcoming weeks. The next time we're actually on the show will be the beginning of the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs.
Let's go.
Hopefully the New York Knicks and New Jersey Devils could make some noise.
New York Rangers will not be
see.
there.
We'll have to
We'll
see.
see if
They
you
won't-
guys
they won't
make
be
it.
there,
They got
man.
an interesting next 2 weeks. Interesting next 2 weeks ahead. So we'll see what happens there. But as far as Newhouse Afternoon goes, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ari Feinstein alongside Maria Wainscott and Jacob Charnow. We'll see you in 2 weeks, filled with more sports news and Syracuse energy. Take care.
This is Orange Nation.